All right. Our final presentation today belongs to Fleet Space Technologies. This private company based in Australia, but as they'll present, their staff is located around the world, as evidenced by David Henderson, Chief Growth of the Americas, who flew in from Toronto today. Thanks, David. Great to have you be here and looking to hear more about the company.
Hi. Yeah, thanks for the introduction. Dave Henderson from Toronto. I'm here to present on Fleet Space. So what is Fleet Space? Are we a space company? Are we an exploration company? Do we do geophysics? The answer is we kind of do a little bit of everything. So we're an Australian-based company, but we're all over the world. So we're in 7 countries. We have 39 nationalities. But we're the first company to actually build an exploration stack that is powered by AI, satellites, and are actually our own hardware, our own geophysical hardware. Last year, we completed a Series D. So we raised 100 million, and we had a valuation of 550 million. This is our CEO, Flavia. So Flavia's Italian. She lives in Adelaide, Australia, and she is holding one of the satellites we put up in space. So she's spectacular. Flavia is a rocket engineer, and she was the one that came up with the idea to bring the technology from space to help the exploration business. So she really coupled space and geological exploration. So, where are we? We know, as we discover more, it just gets harder and harder. So 80%, we're seeing 80% fewer copper deposits over the last 20 years. I think this number is really, really important in explaining how difficult it is to find new deposits. 1 in 500 drill holes actually hit. So a lot of these drill holes they're drilling blind. And we're seeing a 40% decline in the average copper grade since 1991. So things are getting harder to find. They're becoming more expensive to find. And that's where we really tried to fill that space. The demand's increasing. So right now we can see that there's 23 million tons of copper. And to get to the supply with the demand of critical minerals and battery minerals, we're going to need an additional 3.7 million tons. So what does that mean? 61 more copper mines, 52 more lithium mines, 29 more rare earth mines, 28 nickel mines. So the demand's growing, and we need to have better ways to actually find these mines. So what we do is we bring in the data. So instead of just going around and trying to find copper with a lot of these ground geological methods, we bring in more data. So we bring in what the right data is to use. We bring that data faster, and we actually de-risk the targets by telling our clients or working with them on how to actually manage that risk and where to look for prospective plays. So a lot of the data we saw before we started incorporating all together was really siloed. And what we've done is we've tried to bring all of that data together. So you can see that you have a ton of different types of surveys. You have gravity surveys, you have MT surveys, you have ANT surveys, all these names. So you have all these different types of surveys. And we actually provide our own surveys, plus we bring in previous surveys that have been done. We bring it all together to help figure out where those targets are. So on the left, these are the sensors we have. So in the Americas right now, in North America, we have about 2,000 of these. We have them all over the world. So they're called geodes. So that's on the far left. They're about the size of a football. And these geodes connect to our satellites. So we put these geodes into the ground, and they basically give us a 3D picture of what's in the earth. And it's real time. It's not something that takes months or weeks. We get results in 48 hours. So then we bring in the other multi-physics. So maybe some magnetic data, maybe they did airborne, maybe they have satellite data. We bring it all together and we build a model. and we try to figure out where they should drill next, or where we think there's potential targets, or maybe where they shouldn't drill at all. As they're drilling, as they're exploring, they get more and more data. We take that data, we bring it back into our platform, and we consistently upgrade this model. So that's what we call agile geoscience. On the top, you can see how surveys used to happen. So if you were going to do 3 surveys, they might take a couple months. You get all the data, you process it, then you go out and you explore. What we're doing is we're doing these surveys real time. So you can move the surveys, you can change where you want to actually look. We can see if the results of the survey are good or not, if the geodes are in the right spot. And it's really more of an agile method. It's really important in harsh environments like in Chile or in Canada. A lot of these areas have we have small seasons to drill. So getting these results quickly is really important. And the faster we can get the results, the better insight we can give. So this is one of the projects we did a couple years ago. This was for Goldfields. This was in Salares Norte in Chile. And this is the world's highest real-time survey. So this is a huge elevations, really steep peaks. And this is just to really show that this technology can go anywhere. They're not connected to trucks, they're not connected to landlines or connected to satellites. So we had people hiking in the mountains. The spacing depends on how deep we wanted to penetrate. So the spacing of the geodes in this project, they're about 100 meters apart. We dug them into the ground or just placed them into the ground, and we're able to figure out where their copper deposit was and help them understand what their structural boundaries were. Another project, this is Reko Diq. This is in Pakistan. This is another porphyry deposit. So we helped them figure out not only where their exploration deposit targets were, we also helped them with some of their ground water issues. So really figuring out where those faulted fractures were, where they had issues, and where they had to drill next. Another project, so we don't only do copper, this is a lithium project. This is in Argentina, so this was a salt flat, and we wanted to figure out how big the salt beds were, how deep they were. We wanted to figure out, what the volcanic intrusives looked like underneath. This was a project that was carried out about 2 years ago. The geode spacing was about 200 meters, and we did it in under a month. This is a really cool project. We're still at Ma'aden, so this is in Saudi Arabia. This is the largest data set that has been collected for ground geophysics. So last year in 7 months, we collected 12,000 square kilometers of data. So that's roughly 15 New York cities or the size of Connecticut. And we did that in about 7 months. So Ma'aden's a really cool project. This is in Saudi Arabia. They have a ton of oil and gas in Saudi Arabia, but they've never really found a mine. They've got one active mine right now. Right next door in Egypt, on the same shield, they have a ton of mines. The reason they haven't looked for anything in Saudi Arabia is really because they've been focused on oil and gas. So what one of their KPIs is that they would like to find 2 tier 1 mines in the next 2 years. So last year we did 12,000 square kilometers. This year we're doing 25,000 square kilometers. This is a combination of our geodes, so that's ANT. We also have some new sensors, MT, so that's magnetics. And that's to find a world-class copper deposit. So here are some of the projects we've worked on. A lot of tier 1 projects, a lot of tier 2, some greenfield, some brownfield projects. We've worked on some uranium projects. We've worked with Rio Tinto. We've worked with Barrick, Power Nickel, lithium. We've done some space for Nutrien in northern Saskatchewan. At the bottom are some of the projects or some of the people we've teamed up with. So when we did our Series D, that was with OTPP, that's Ontario Teachers. Blackbird, they've been with us since the start. We have Horizon Ventures, Hot Plus, Rock. So yeah, we've been moving and shaking, and we've gone from that proof of concept to a real company. This was published a couple years ago, so we were the fastest growing tech company in Australia. And again, you know, we are growing, and we've become a company that's, you know, not just a science project from a piece of paper to a company that has real sensors. We have some satellites up in the atmosphere, and we continue to grow. We're working with Mineral X, so this is with Stanford. We're working with them on a project called Exosphere, so this is our AI project. And what we're really trying to do here is bring in all the data that we can see from mining companies, including our 3D geophysics, to give a better understanding of what we can see in the ground. So we're working on things like hyperspectral data, so things you can't see with your eye from satellite data. We're working on drill data. We're working on our geophysics data. We're working on ground truth data, soil sample data, and it all comes together in our AI platform to help solve that model. This is a cool project that we're working with MIT. This was in the Canary Islands. This kind of transitions us into the space era. So like what we were doing here is we were looking for caves. So we were looking for lava tubes. And we were using our sensors to figure out how deep the tubes were, how big they were, what the resolution of our sensors were. And this is the kind of technology you can use in space. So you want to go colonize the moon, or you want to go out to Mars, you want to figure out where we could actually put humans. And that's why we had this sensor array and this test with MIT. This is a project we worked on with NASA. This was a couple years ago, and it was in the Arctic. So this is at Devon Island. It was the biggest impact crater. And we worked with them on, they were doing a drilling technology, and we worked with them to sense where they could drill, what they would actually see ahead of time. And it was part of that real-time agile geoscience. So we had our sensors in the ground, and we would collect the data, give it to them, and they would figure out where to explore. Just came back from another project in Antarctica with NASA. Similar, it was a really similar type of project, really cool. So we brought a whole bunch of sensors. NASA's testing their drill. So they have a drill that they want to send to space. And we were able to give them real-time results of what they were seeing and where they could drill next. This is a really interesting project. So this is with Firefly. It's with Moon. So this is the second lunar landing that's going to happen. The first one was last year. This landing's happening the fall of 2026. And our sensor is on that payload. It's called the Spider. It's an ANT sensor. So this is something we built in Adelaide. And it's pretty cool. Same sort of thing. We're putting this sensor on the moon to try to figure out what's there. If they have caves, if they have water, what they can look for. This is a pretty cool mission. It's actually going right on the equator of the moon, so on the dark side of the moon as well. And they've got a big space package going out to discover what's actually there. That's it for me. Thank you.
Thanks, David. Any questions from the studio audience before we go online? Oh, sorry.
Sorry. Hi. You talked about water on the moon just now. Why did you make that assumption? Where did that come from?
We don't have the assumption. We don't know. But the idea is, if we want to go to Mars, which would be the goal,
yes,
is we'd want fuel. So we'd want to go to the moon, figure out if we can find water, use that as a fuel source, or use it to colonize the moon, and then go to the next level.
So, okay, I'll tell you, I know a lot about space. Obviously, there's a lot more to know, but I know a lot in terms of like water presence in an extraterrestrial location. There's Titan, right? There's Europa. So those are Jupiter and Saturn's moon. Now, whether our moon has water, we've never made that assumption. this is the first time I've heard it. So, and for Mars, the atmosphere in Mars, by the way, is very cold, and there's a high amount of radiation. But I do see so much like potential in terms of like what minerals are there and how we can extract it. So that's definitely it. But also in terms of how do we colonize Mars? For Mars, I feel like we'd have to live underground
Yeah, absolutely.
because
Absolutely.
the surface atmosphere is not appropriate for human as we know it today. But it's a great technology. Kudos to you guys for finding something like this. So it's. I mean, there are other technologies that does metallurgical surveys. And how does yours have that competitive edge?
Sure, that's a good question. So a lot of information. So yeah, our technology is more finding what's underneath the ground. The technologies you're talking about would be something like a live sensor, an XRF sensor, and those sensors read on what's on the actual ground. So their physical touch. There's also hyperspectral, which reads just the surface. Ours actually takes the noise from the ground, so on the moon from impacts, and it'll read those vibrations to calibrate to see what's actually in the ground. It's similar to what our sensors here on Earth do. So these sensors, they're really cool. Like we're collecting the data on Earth, but we're able to use the data in space. We're also building other sensors. We're building some sensors for Apophis to actually read the mineralogy. So something like a laser. So those engravers that burn your name into like a flask or a lighter or something like that. We've built some sensors that read the plasma from that burn and actually can tell the hyperspectral signature to give you a mineralogy. So I think that's maybe what you're talking about for moon exploration. Yeah.
Thank you for the great presentation. Just a question on your business model. We see that some of the on planet Earth, some of the exploration companies like that are deploying AI and machine learning, et cetera, like Cobalt and Virai, and some other folks from Mineralex actually. They're also ambitious in terms of earning into the projects and getting royalties and so on and so forth. It's not just fee for service. Could you elaborate a little bit? I know you're a private company, but tell us a bit more about your business model.
Yeah, so we're not an exploration company. We partner with companies to help with exploration. So we don't actually go out and we don't own properties, but we partner with companies like Rio Tinto or Barrick to help them uncover their mineral questions. Does that answer what you're asking?
Sort of. So it's a services business. You don't get a piece of what you find or what they find with your help.
That's right.
Got it. Thank you.
I think we have a couple of questions online. Any other questions from the audience here? John?
David, there's a question here asking about the advantages of Ecosphere over, legacy airborne and ground surveys.
Yeah, so Exosphere is our technology. That's kind of like our AI platform. And what the advantages of Exosphere is you're not just looking at one data set, but you can bring all the data sets together. So you can bring in satellite data, you can bring in drill data, you can bring in historic data. You can partner that with our 3D model to give a higher resolution of where you can de-risk your drilling.
And what does a typical copper engagement look like in terms of contract duration, size, contract size, and what are the deliverables?
That's a tough question. It's always different depending on the property. So one like Ma'aden that is absolutely massive. It's a multi-year project. Some of the projects we do in a matter of months. Some of them in a matter of weeks. So usually what we'll do is we'll do it at like a regional survey to kind of figure out where we are and what structures we're looking at. Once we have that, we will collect the geodes back up, and then we'll put them in at a tighter spacing to give higher resolution. So we go from a regional scale to more of a district scale. Yeah, and really, it really depends on the project. I could say it could go from weeks to years.
Thank you. There's a question right here.
Yeah, you kind of have to, because you have to really understand what you're looking for. You can't just... Exactly. That's exactly.
You talk about the mineralizations. Do you need to have the 43101, or you just analyze the surface and the deep on the earth to find out the minerals?
That's a good question. Yeah, so for 43101, that's further down the line. What we're doing is we're helping drill. So we're helping them find out where to drill and how to de-risk those drills. So earlier I said 1 in 500 drill holes actually hit. We want to decrease that rate. We want to help them figure out, how to hit more frequent and how to target the right areas. So we're not involved with the 43101.
And I follow up. Do you do this on Earth, or you can do this on sea and underwater?
That is a good question. We have not done anything underwater. That technology probably work. The ANT technology probably would work underwater. We do it in a lot of areas in northern Canada that are frozen and are very swampy. So as long as we can get a signal, we can read it.
And finally, are you doing this for minerals, or can you do this for oil and gas?
So you could do this technology for oil and gas. Where we're focused, where our company is really focused, is for minerals, for battery minerals, rare earth minerals, really the electrification of the grid.
Thank you, Dave, for the very interesting presentation. So I guess it can be told about based on the volume of questions. Really interested in the business models over here. And then I'm a CPA, so I'm just wondering, so you guys do the services, and then it's kind of like, what if the result of the detections is kind of means that shows that probably this is a dead mine or whatever, it shows nothing, and then do you still get your services paid? Or because basically the customer, or whether it's government or private companies or my companies, they want to ensure that, okay, this is mineable, I would say, and they can make something out of it. Yeah.
That's a good question. Yeah. So how our business model works is we go out and we help them try to find where the discovery is. Usually where we're going are areas there where they've done some previous work. So maybe they have, some ground sampling. Maybe there's been some previous drilling. So we'll go there and we will help them try to figure out how to de-risk where they're drilling next. So they'll have a better idea of where to drill rather than, drilling blindly or drilling on limited data. As they drill and as the data comes back, we can actually take that data in, we can update our models, and then we can figure out where they should be drilling on the go. So that's really where the agile geoscience, so it's a change in decision-making on the go as the exploration moves.
To me, you sounds like Mr. Whalen from the Whalen Corporation from Prometheus, the movie. And also your company fleet sounds like Starfleet from the Star Trek. So I want to know, asteroid mining and Mars colonization, all these have been sci-fi the hot topics. I want to know how much is reality catching up with sci-fi, and what are the real practical realities or business prospects that we can actually harness, and some are still dreaming, sci-fi dreams.
Yeah, look, we have to dream. we get asked this a lot. Like, is it actually reality? Can you actually do this? But we were just looking at presentations, right? And they were saying to start up a mine takes 10 to 15 years and a lot of money, and we have environmental impacts. There are a lot of minerals up on these asteroids. We've got a lot of things going up and dropping off payloads. We don't have anything coming back to Earth. So yeah, there's definitely the potential. Right now, we're working with the University of Adelaide on a project for asteroid mining. There's an asteroid coming by the Earth in 2028, and we've got a government grant to read with some of our sensors what's actually on that asteroid. So, you know, I think as technology gets better, everything's getting a little bit closer. Yeah. Yeah, so our last round, our biggest backers was OTPP. So Cheers. Yeah. Yeah.
Just asking about the financing of the company.
Sure.
Since your company is Dabikura Spartan Capital, you're very intensive on data. Have you ever thought about tokenizing real world assets you have that you've been finding for these companies?
A lot of the data that we're getting from these companies is very private. Like, it is mining companies, they want to keep their data private. They don't want it to be shared with the other mining companies. So I'm not sure if that would work, but always open to ideas.
And how many CAs do you have open right now, or how many signed CAs do you have? Because obviously you're getting a lot of confidentiality agreements.
Yeah.
How many? Because you showed a list up there before. By the way, it's called Power Metallic now. But
that's right.
How many do you have right now? About how many CAs do you have out?
You know what? I'm not sure on that number off the top of my head. Probably in between the range of 30.
John, I think we got a couple more questions online.
An investor's asking, who's your current launch provider and how many VSATs do you have?
Sure. So our last payload went up with SpaceX, and we have put up 8 satellites. Not all of them. Yeah. So ours are they're low Earth orbit. Yeah.
Let me give you the mic here. You can pass that down, please.
I mean, we were talking about financing, and we are in the OTC. So, I mean, is there another round coming up? And if there is, you know, who do we get in touch with?
Well, you can talk to me, and I can get you in touch with our CFO. Where we are right now is we're not entirely sure. So, like we said, we've proven out our technology. It's real. It's not a science project anymore. But we are growing quickly, and we have a lot of new ideas. So we'd like to grow and keep this momentum going. So we're at the point right now, are we going to do a Series E? Do you go public? Do you do a pre-financing round? We're not really sure. But that's what we're talking about right now with our investors.
I was just about to ask if you planned on going public.
Yeah.
Are you generating any revenue?
Yes. So with all these exploration projects, we're generating revenue. Our biggest project, our biggest revenue generating project right now is Modern. So that's the one where we did 12,000 square kilometers last year. It's doubled this year. So what we do is we charge to go out and perform these surveys. And ANT was the start of our technology suite. So those are like the footballs that connect to the satellites. We have a new technology suite called MT. MT is a very known technology. It's very long, it's very laborious. And what we've designed is to connect these other sensors to satellites. We acquired another company called HiSeis last year that does active seismic. So those are those like big seismic trucks. And we've worked on something, I don't know if you guys have seen movie Dune. You know, Dune, where the sand thumper, they put a thumper in the ground and the big sand monster comes. So we created something kind of similar. It's a little box that creates vibrations, and we can actually read those waves So we're constantly working on new technologies, and we're using these technologies right now.
Question. I know you are private, but at the valuation, are you profitable?
Are we profitable?
Yeah.
Yeah. So where we are right now is we're very close to profitable, but we are spending a lot of money on continuing to.
Are you cash flow positive?
We are almost cash flow
Okay.
positive.
Okay. Question about your technology. I mean, it sounds like disruptive or revolutionized. I mean, any competing technology or somebody try to copycat you or whatever?
We haven't had, there are other technologies out there that there's lots of multi-physics companies out there. I think we have a unique space where we put our own satellites into space. There's a little bit of a different barrier to entry. Ivanhoe Electric, they have a technology out there that's very large, very expensive. It does something that does do multi-physics. There's historic multi-physics programs out there. So there are people that do ANT technology, which is our geode. It just takes a lot longer to get the data, and it's not as high quality. So I would say right now we are the leader in multi-physics, and we are the best at high quality multi-physics in the mining industry.
I think we have one more question online, and then we'll move up to our closing comments with David Batista.
David, one of our online investors is asking, are you seeking capital? But I think for the benefit of the online folks, if you can provide how they can get a hold of you or who they should contact details.
Sure. We are currently deciding what we're going to be doing. So my email is david.henderson@fleet.space. Happy to reach out to me. Happy if you did reach out to me, I can put you in touch with our CEO. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, David Henderson, Fleet Space Technologies.
Thank you.